And as you started to learn and as you understood the ins and outs of doing, your training, what was that moment when you had a eureka moment when you started to wrestle?
Okay, so when I started at 14, when I was 16, I made my debut. I think I kind of was getting around it at the time. But right now, I would say it's probably the most I've known about wrestling ever. I thought when I was a kid, I knew so much about it. But now it's I gotta know everything that's going on or everything that happens. So it's crazy being an actual professional wrestler. Dream came true, basically.
We have Chaos Child here on the new season of the PGTK
also, we're the first
Podcast. How
episode,
are you, man?
right? I'm very good.
The new season.
Thanks for having me.
You got dibs. So
Thanks for having me. Such a pleasure.
Oh, of course. Absolutely. So I always ask with every luchador, what is your current mask design about?
So right now, if y'all can't tell, I'm pretty sure everybody could tell. I just added a little CC right here for Chaos Child. But so John Leastickle is in AW, I believe, and his mask is very, very similar to if you look at his mask, it's the same thing, just not this, and the tails, the material's kind of different. So he's
you have it looks like a tassel almost.
It's like a snake's. Yeah, I have tails, but it's snake's skin right here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Do you remember your first mask? Do you remember
So I actually have it with me. I saw you ask the question. I saw it. Yep. So this one is actually, a lot of people say Sin Cara, but we had Cinta de Oro down in Corpus, and I couldn't attend that show. And at the time, I wasn't wrestling, and my dad had got it for me. And so when I started wrestling, I needed a mask that day, and so happened that I had that mask with me, and it's a little different to the mask he wears now. So I was like, why not? So I started using it.
You're basically just whatever. It's still my mask. I'm gonna wrestle in it.
Yeah, but if you can tell, I mean, it has these two nose things were not open. I opened them myself. It sucked when I first started, so I had to breathe. I had to breathe.
Yeah, and how did the first mask to now, what were some of those changes?
It's a lot different, especially with my eyes open, and right here I have holes. So it's a way better, whole different ball game. It's a whole different ball game.
Yeah, where did that name Chaos Child come from, too?
That's a funny one. So me and my brother, Josh, were actually talking about that one the other day because we're on the road and we're going to a show that he was booked on, and I was just with him, and they had a battle royal, and I needed a name, and I had gear that said CC. So we're like, Corpus Kid, but we didn't know what to say. And he just said Chaos, and I said Child, and we kind of just mixed it and started using it.
So you improv. That was. It sounded like you're ad-libbing the name.
Yeah, I mean, it was just out of nowhere. I rode with it, and it worked, so.
Yeah, and being based in Corpus Christi, and I'm the Austinite in the group. I went to one show here in Corpus Christi, and what makes this city such a unique wrestling city, much like Austin has its own environment, Houston has its own environment, San Antonio has its own environment. What makes Corpus Christi such a special place in wrestling?
And so I think just the history of the wrestling being in Corpus, and right now especially, or for the past 2-3 years especially, Corpus Christi is wrestling, it's heaven right now. Both shows down in Corpus Christi are just providing such great entertainment, such good wrestling. And it's where you want to be. I can't wait till I start wrestling here down in Corpus, especially since I am trained and born from here. But yeah, I think it's just the history and the past and everything, how it's working now, and it's so good, bro.
Yeah, you mentioned the history, but do you remember how far back? Even before you were wrestling, what makes Corpus such a very
my grandpa, I can't remember the exact dates. I wasn't even thought of.
Oh, no, that's what I'm saying. From what you can remember.
In the 80s, late 80s, early He used to wrestle with the Von Erichs. He had shows down here. I remember my dad telling me stories about him being in the locker room with Shawn Michaels and Mick Foley and all these guys, and I was like, damn, why could I like be born or why should I be here when that happens? So yeah, I mean, my dad tells me stories all the time. I have clips and videos of my grandpa just wrestling and him doing crazy stuff here in Corpus, and hell, they used to wrestle like 15 minutes down that way in Portland, and it was crazy. It's a crazy world here.
Yeah, because I was thinking about that too, especially from you seeing on the fans' perspective. What makes that such a special city to wrestle in?
I just think what GCWA especially has provided over the last 20 years, 30 years, I just feel
Oh,
like it should be an honor to want to be or want to step in the ring there. Like, that's a goal of mine, especially. So I think we are a bigger promotion, and I just think that's a goal that you should want to get to.
yeah. And I was thinking about especially being a third generation wrestler before you even step into the ring. What was it like watching your grandfather and your dad, seeing them wrestle?
So, funny story, I have never seen my grandpa wrestle in person.
Okay.
Ever. All I remember is him getting in the ring at shows and just beating people up. That's all I remember. Being like a special guest or something. But my dad actually, so we had a show a little while back at a nursing home, just like a little, we're helping, we're just giving entertainment for them. I actually got to tag with him, and that was the first ever, like, me being wrestling in the same ring, or it was such a great moment when I wrestled with my brother. So it was pretty cool, but watching him growing up, like, I literally wanted to be him, like, so bad. I just couldn't, like, the new style, that was everywhere. But that was everywhere.
Yeah, what was the one thing that stands out whenever you see your dad wrestle? Like even just watching from the ringside.
I think it's the crowd work. I think that he would tell you that the most when we're training or when we're doing matches or something. He would look at your crowd work the most.
Mm. And what makes it unique? And then how did that apply to what you're doing when you're wrestling?
So I think the knowledge that he knows and the knowledge that he has helped me be a way better wrestler than I was. He has helped me so much. I think his the knowledge that he has on like crowd work and like his in ring like work is so great, and I think it really helped me be a better wrestler, especially under the mask.
Right.
So I got help in there.
Yeah, and especially when you're training under like the Galvin School of Wrestling. And as you started to learn and as you understood the ins and outs of doing, your training, what was that moment when you had a eureka moment when you started to wrestle?
Okay, so when I started at 14, when I was 16, I made my debut. I think I kind of was getting around it at the time, but right now I would say it's probably like the most I've known about like wrestling ever. Like, ever. I thought
Yeah.
when I was a kid I knew so much about it, but now it's like I gotta know everything that's going on or everything that happens. So it's crazy being like an actual professional wrestler. Like, dream came true basically.
Yeah, and especially with what your dad has done training you, what were some of the advice that you got from him as you started to really get into
One
this thing called wrestling?
Yeah, one thing I could say for sure that he has told me multiple times after every match that at least he's been to, you could have worked the crowd better. That's the one thing he could have said. Like, or why were you interacting with the crowd more? And I'll be like, I thought I was. And he was like, you need to go watch a Bret Hart match or something. And so, like, that's the only thing I would remember after a match if he was there, man. Like, his favorite wrestler was Bret Hart, and he would just go on and on about how he worked the crowd harder or better and all that.
And how did you especially doing crowd work? When did you finally get to basically corral the crowd and to what you're doing during a match?
So, like, would you mean like getting them going or?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
I just think, I mean, when you feel them going, I think you gotta work with them, man. You just gotta, I mean, clap. There's always a clap, or there's always a "Let's go, guys," or you just gotta give it to them.
So you had like nerves, kind of. You kind of had nerves coming in, but when you started to like
Yeah,
saying, "Okay, bring them up," hype them up, and then the crowd will just follow you at that point.
yeah.
Okay,
And
okay,
I
awesome.
hope, I mean, the moves I do, I hope the moves I do, I mean, show them that I'm okay in the ring.
Yeah, and how long have you been doing it? How long have you been doing in-ring work?
In
Doing
ring
your
work,
wrestling.
so believe it or not, I started as a rep.
Okay,
So I was reffing for the 2 years that I was training and about to be a wrestler. So I think, I mean, uh, 4 years, about to be. I turn 18 this weekend, actually.
okay,
It'll be 4 years this weekend. Because I
okay.
started on
4
my
years.
birthday when I was 14.
And did you get your certificate finally when you
So
completed your
I got
training?
it uh when I was 16, right about to turn 17.
What was that feeling like getting that certificate?
I was very proud of myself. I felt like I made it something, like the hard work paid off, like the whole time. Like I thought I was like, I'm just
You're
wasting
on
my
cloud
time.
nine.
Yeah, so I just think, I mean, when I actually got it and we took a picture and everything, confirmed everything, I was like, I'm gonna do something with it. I'm not gonna waste my time and just, so yeah.
Yeah, and going beyond Corpus Christi, what was your first like debut outside of?
So I had two because they were the same day.
Mhm.
So San Antonio Wrestling Shop. Um, my brother was wrestling there at the time, and they needed an extra match. And at the time, I was already available to wrestle. And my brother was like, "Hey, do you want to wrestle me?" And I was like, "Why not, right? I mean, what could go wrong?" And then it turned into a tag match right before the match happened. And I was like, "Oh my God!" Like I was freaking out. But the match went good. But then that later day, Texas Wrestling Association, I actually tagged with Josh against the End of the World Party.
Wow, that's a jump right there. That's a big
Corvus,
jump.
and I believe it was Ash instead of Ricky.
I think
I
that
think.
okay, because I saw Ricky. I remember Ricky. Okay, I see what you mean.
Yeah, so I think it was them two. But yeah, it was a crazy debut, like the whole day.
What was that feeling being outside of your own city and basically coming in as an unknown? And where was that again? Where was the place?
So both of those shows were in San Antonio.
Okay, gotcha. So to have something that's outside of your comfort zone in Corpus, coming in as an unknown, what was the one thing that you took away from that?
See, I took it in just because I was like, well, damn, it's the first two shows ever, and they took a chance, so I'm here, and so I'm gonna take it all in. You wanna know something funny? I lost both of those matches. I was like, man, all I remember
Gotta
from
start
that,
somewhere.
all I remember from that day, man, is me losing both of my debut matches. I was like, I have two, I can win one at least, and on the second one we lost. I was like, no.
But what did you
But
learn from that experience, though? What
it
did you
was
learn
a
from that?
great experience, especially the second one, because I got to work with someone that's been in the game longer than I've ever thought about wrestling. So it was pretty cool, and I got hit really hard. So it was a great
That's
learning
wrestling to
experience.
you at that point.
Yeah, it's wrestling.
Yeah, and one thing I want to bring up too is because I did some work with the APW and facing Ethan Page. We'll get that Ethan sometime down the
Let's
line.
do it.
Ethan
Let's do
Hunter.
it. Let's do
To
it.
have Ethan Hunter, who's trained in the UK and in the US. What was that conversation like working with each other as you guys face for the wrestling championship?
So that one was really important to me just because it was not only my debut in Austin, but
Oh, okay.
yeah, but or at three, and it was for a championship. But that was my first time wrestling someone that's been over there or trained from the UK, or it was really important to me. It was a really fun match. It was probably like top 2, top 3. It was really fun.
What was it? What was that such a unique time to work with someone like an Ethan Hunter who
I
is
loved his
trained
voice.
in 2 countries?
I loved his
Oh,
voice.
okay.
I loved his voice. Like in the ring, he would talk mess to me, and I would like, man, like I love your voice. Why are you talking mess to me, man? Like I loved him, man. But afterwards, I mean, he showed respect in the back. I mean, he was alright. He's alright, dude. He's alright.
Yeah, because I think after that you went to Uncanny a few weeks after. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. It was a great
To
experience.
learn to yeah, exactly, and to be part of like San Antonio and then now in Austin, to leave your mark in the wrestling business here in Texas. What is the one thing that kind of made you appreciate wrestling even more, even though you're wrestling outside of your city? What was that? What was that? What was that takeaway from whenever you're wrestling in another city?
And see, I actually, when I go like out places and go watch a wrestling show, or like I really love wrestling out of the city because, I mean, you never know what you're gonna go into or what you're stepping into when you're going to a different promotion or a school,
Okay.
or so like, especially with Hyper. Theirs is amazing. I didn't know what I was stepping into the first time I went. It was amazing
Okay.
there. So like in Austin, when I went to AAPW for the first time, it was amazing. It's dope. So I just think like when you get the opportunity to go to different schools and different promotions, all with like Texas, I just think you gotta embrace what you go and see, just because you never know when you're gonna be back and when you're gonna see something like that again.
Exactly. And I was thinking about that too, where having this wrestling family, how has that been such an important part in your wrestling career? Having this family of generational wrestlers, basically, how has that become part of who you are as a wrestler today?
And just be, I wouldn't say my whole, like every match I have or every place I go is because the name or where I'm from, but
Okay.
just because, I mean, I don't use the name, but when I am there or when people do know my last name, it definitely like I've heard a lot of, you're Galvan's boy. Oh, you're from Corpus. You're Corpus. Like, it's great just to go and them to be like, he's Ben's son, or oh, he's from Corpus, from GC. Like, like it's really
Mm.
dope just because like, or what the name has become, just because of what my dad did or just what my grandpa did.
When do you want to leave your own mark as a wrestler?
And see, I'm hoping that that starts now, and it's gonna just keep going. Everywhere I go, I'm just leaving a mark, and I hope the mark's big enough to leave and everybody
Mm.
likes it. So, I mean, let's, let's hope. All we can do.
Yeah. And what are your goals, especially with this year? And we're kind of past the halfway mark with this year. What are you looking forward to in your career goals in wrestling for the rest of the year?
So for the rest of the year, I definitely want more championships. That's just one.
Every wrestler wants the
I
belt.
need I need more. I need more. But no, definitely um I want to get out more of Texas. I want all more bookings. I want to go wrestle more places. Want to debut at a lot of more places. So that's a little throw out to promotion.
Just get that out there. Just get that out there.
I definitely want to wrestle Dallas. I want to get out there. I'll say that one just for this year, just because the year's almost at the ending point. But I want to wrestle Dallas.
What makes Dallas such a very interesting place for you to be at?
But just because my dad, growing up, I went to a lot of shows, but I don't remember a whole lot of shows when I was little. But this one time we're in Dallas, and I remember this show, Top of the T. Like my dad let me help him run the show. And ever since then, I just always wanted to go back actually wrestling. I want to wrestle in Dallas. So I think it's a key place I want to wrestle at.
Oh, there's like a connection that you have with the city because
Yeah, I just
you're
want to
part
wrestle
of
there.
what you're doing.
Yeah.
Gotcha. And I guess dream opponents, like who do you want to face down the line? It could be someone here, it could be someone. It can be as big as a bus. You need the floor is yours on your dream opponents.
So I'll give you three here, like in Texas. One would definitely be Casey Blackrose. Definitely.
Okay.
I need that one. I want Cavins. Cavins. Yep. I want him in a match. My third one will have to be Epi. I have to get
Okay.
one with Epi.
It's a luchador versus luchador at that point too. You're
Yeah,
like you want to face.
man, he's doing great things right now, and I've been I've been I like supported him since he was young, man, and I mean I love what he's doing. So yeah, it's like
Yeah.
gotta get that one.
What makes Casey Blackrose, Cavins, or Epi such an interesting person to work with in the ring?
I love their styles. They're all completely all different. Like Casey, he breaks people's backs. Like that's a dope thing to say,
Yeah.
especially in wrestling. And what he's doing, especially Casey, he's killing it right now. He's doing absolutely amazing, and I think he's the best at his game right now. Same thing goes with Cavins. He's fast. He's small. I think me and him would tear it up. Me and F would just be luchador versus luchador. So
Yeah,
I
no,
think.
that's kind of a thing too. That's going to be a nice thing to have at that point. And I want to ask, I want to look back to, and I was thinking about looking back in your career, especially with the year that you had right now. Like, what can you take away from this year?
I've debuted at a lot of places this year, and I just think this year showed me that because my first year when I started, I wrestled like maybe 14 times, and it was like I was really second thinking. I was like, well, are people gonna book me? Maybe like they don't even, And so I started getting myself out there. I started doing more. I started posting more. I started doing more stuff for it, and I think what I learned from this year is if you don't try at least, or if you don't give it a shot, you're never gonna know. So, I mean,
Yeah,
I took a shot on all the promotions I went to, and I mean, if they like me or not, I think I let them know what I'm about, and I just want to see where it takes me.
and it's just proving yourself too, and
Yes.
just making and showing what you've got in the ring, and having this legacy, at least like, and you mentioned where it's like you're being associated with, but to have your own identity within that legacy would always take bookers and promoters notice. So it takes time. I mean, it takes time for that to happen.
Yeah, especially in Texas, there's so much wrestlers. Like you never know when, or especially promotions. There's literally one everywhere. Like you can go to any like town or city, and there's one at least. So it's really cool. You just like I said, you just gotta shoot your shot. I mean, you never know.
Yeah, and I'm gonna end our conversation for this week. Thank you so much, Chaos, for having you on. This has been like an immediate booking because I gotta bring you up here because one thing I noticed, especially watching your match with Ethan Hunter, is how fluid and dynamic you are as a wrestler and a luchador. So like I gotta book you. I gotta put you, I guess, on the new
Thank
season because I'm
you.
like, you know
Yes,
what?
thank.
You never know. You never know. Like Chaos might be going somewhere. They'll look back and they're like,
Hopefully.
shoot, he's in this podcast. He's over here somewhere. But I want to thank you so much for
So
that. But
this
I'm
is
gonna
actually my first podcast. So
really okay. The
yeah,
more you know.
yes.
So I'm gonna end our conversation with this, and being that you're 18, we're gonna do a -1 on our question. So, adolescence always happens between the ages of 10 and 19. Um, People do tend to pick things up as they grow up as an adolescent. Now, I'm gonna pose this question to you: if you're in the same room as a young chaos child, at the age of blank, what would you like to talk to him about?
I would like to talk to him about wrestling, especially wrestling. Especially wrestling. But I would tell him maybe to keep living, but especially to focus more on wrestling, knowing what turns out like in the end game. Like I start wrestling and everything. I think I would tell him just to keep pushing because at a certain point I didn't want to wrestle. So I think I would just tell him and hype him up about it and let him know that it's all good.
Was it just like you mentioned before, where there was some anxiety within that age when you were growing up at the time? Was it just that anxiety of like, man, I'm not sure if I can do it? That whole
It
thing.
was just like, well, my grandpa did it, my dad did it, my cousins do it too. So it's like, I was like, I don't know, like maybe they're gonna be better than me, and I want to be the one that's just out, like out the thing. So it was just always like second thoughts, just always going. And as a kid, especially a teenager, it's just like all of it, just going and going. But I mean, I stayed with it, I focused, so here I am. I'm the
And to have
podcast.
that conversation saying, hey, it's gonna get better. It'll get better, and then look where you're at now today.
Yeah.
I have nothing left to give. You have the floor. Where can we find you, Chaos Child?
So on Instagram and TikTok only, it's Foot Chaos Child 3, and you can find me on there. I post content all the time. I'm always catching it up. So my flyers that I'm on, my next wrestling show dates, they'll be on my stories. So just keep up with all that.
Okay, awesome. So this has been the first episode of the third season over at the PGTK
Some
Podcast.
of the first
Thank
episode.
You got the debut.
Mark that
so
down.
We'll end our this will be the end of our conversation. And as always, thank you so much for listening, and we're on to the next one.
Thank you.